Welcome in, everybody. Ty Bartell in with another edition of Player Profile. This time we go over to the community of Atwater with one of their seniors on the girls basketball team this year. It is Abby Mazur. And Abby, how are we doing today?
Pretty good.
I mean, let's look at first and foremost just your basketball experience and start at the beginning, I guess, before we start getting into the Waterloo high school days and everything. Where did this love of basketball begin for you? Where did you first find yourself into this sport and start really developing a passion for it?
Yeah, so I grew up, my brothers played basketball, always a lot taller than me, so it always made me mad whenever I'd get like stuffed or something on the court. Um, so we always would play out in the driveway and stuff. That led into getting in a rec league. I grew up in Akron, so I played for like a little rec league there. And then I ended up moving out here, playing for rec leagues out here, and then that led into middle school and playing for Waterloo.
What is your earliest rec league memory playing basketball, or one that really stuck with you that made you really want to keep going with the sport?
Yeah, so we'd play on these little hoops, and I remember I was always really competitive, and like this girl picked up the ball and started walking with it, and I was like, "That's a travel!" I started yelling at him, and like I just remember being like, "Yeah, I think this is definitely my sport, like understanding stuff."
You were applying the street ball rules too that the brothers put on you in the driveway for
Oh yeah,
so long. How long did it take you? Did you ever get the best of your brothers at the driveway basketball games? I know there's
yeah.
probably a game every single one of those times you guys meet.
Well, my brother's 6'7", and I'm only 5'7", so
So
many times I got dunked on and stuffed and all that. But yeah, definitely now that I can shoot the ball, he's got to come out, and he doesn't have anything on me anymore.
started nailing them threes a little bit too. If you
Yeah,
can't go through them, just shoot over them, right? And
yeah,
that solves all the problems. Talking Waterloo basketball too, and talking your experience becoming a part of this team, and I mean just carrying that over to the high school level. Was that something you were always like sure on when you went from middle school to high school that this was the sport you were going to play? Were you on the fence about it? Just talk to me about your transition from middle school to high school basketball and how that went for you.
yeah. So in middle school, we had a lot of like interactions with the high school basketball team. So a lot of times, like Coach Q would bring us up, and we'd see like the high school practices and see Coach L coaching his team then. And I mean, as a little middle schooler, it was a little scary at first, but I knew that it was definitely something I'd still want to do and have him as a coach and be in that competitive level.
When you just talk about great coaches too, I know Coach Longenecker is one of the best too. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him and what he does. Talk to me, take me inside that locker room a little bit because it takes a little bit to get something out of him. He's a very quiet coach to everyone on the outside, but I know he has a very colorful, vibrant personality to the people he knows too. Take me inside that locker room and tell me a little bit about what Coach L has taught you about not only the game of basketball, but a little bit about life lessons too that he's taught you.
Yeah, so ever since like I can remember my freshman year, like just being a scared freshman JV team, but he's always been such a welcoming person, and I mean, he teaches way more than just basketball, like life lessons. Like I know I can always go to him no matter what it is. Like I know I've had deep conversations with him and over leadership, basketball, life, family, like all that kind of stuff. And he's always there to listen. And it's nice to have somebody like that who's not just a coach who can coach you through basketball, but through life as well.
You talk about coaching stories. I think that whole story of last year's team, and I mean this year's team, you guys are carrying the momentum in it with a stronger schedule. But that story last year too was so impressive to me because I mean you guys were the underdogs, right? You guys
Yeah.
put girls on a court. You couldn't even play 5-on-5 in practices too, so you really couldn't get that experience practice wise unless you were playing on the court. How
Right.
much did that year really I guess create those bonds between the six of you too? How strong did the relationship and chemistry get built between having such a small team, knowing that you can only depend on each other on the court? How was that experience and how it culminated too in a conference championship? Just talk about that year before we get into this season's.
Yeah. So I think like not only were we just teammates, but I think we were all really good friends, like sisters, and we still are. We go out to dinner together, we do team bonding stuff together. Like there's always going to be that connection. I can see even after I graduate between the girls from last year. Like, that bond was one of the best team bonding and just friend bonding experiences with like a huge group, like that led to success.
Because of that experience too, you and Rose had that kind of unique experience by being the starters of the team too, but you guys were juniors, but you were also kind of looked at as being the leaders a year earlier than what you were supposed to. So you were juniors and then senior leaders as well. What did you take from your junior season, and what did you learn a lot about being a leader that you took into your senior year? What are some things you changed about yourself, and what are some things that stayed the same junior to senior year as a leader?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it is like understanding your teammates, like understanding how to communicate with them. And I know, like, as a younger person, I was always like, well, how do I get what I'm feeling off without sounding mean, you know? But like, as the past 2 years have gone, I've definitely developed better communication skills with the team, and like understanding what everybody can do and everybody's skills level and what they're good at and what they might need work at, and just working with each other on that.
When you go into this season now and you bolstered the schedule too, we all know kind of what the goal is after last year's season, what you guys want to come at and do. Now this year, I mean, you guys have suffered a couple of setbacks here and there too, but you guys still a very good team. You still are rolling into tournament, and it should be an exciting run again this year. What have those setbacks taught you about as a player too? And being one of the senior leaders, what are some of the advice you give to the younger players about suffering a loss or a close loss or maybe a heartbreaking loss during the regular season, about bouncing back, getting over it, and still getting back in it the next day and getting a win?
Yeah, you can't just hang your head down the whole time. I mean, there's always stuff you can improve on, whether that be between basketball or life. Like, there's been major setbacks between basketball and life that I've had, and I've realized that like you can't just sit there and mourn on it. It's Life's not going to really stop for you to get yourself together. You got to keep going. So
It's a very mature take from you to take that stance too. And I mean, you took life what it offered you, and you went right out on the court and you nailed down 11 3-pointers, I believe,
yeah.
during this season. Let's talk about that game, a record-breaking performance. I was in the gym that night, and I felt like you couldn't miss from the arc too. You were feeling it against Sebring. Talk to me about just that moment. Do you even remember the 4 quarters on a court, or did you just kind of get lost in a trance and everything just
Yeah.
took over from there?
Yeah. Going into that game, I feel like it's definitely a game I'll never forget. And like going into that game, I was there was some stuff that had happened previously, and we always talk about going out on the court and clicking that stuff off. So I definitely tried to, but like going out in that game, I just had a different mentality. I was like, this is like, there's just something about this game. So going off, I think I missed the first wide open layup, and I was like, wow, okay, I see how this is gonna go. And then I get the rebound. I'm pretty sure I hit the first three, and I was like, okay. And then after that, I just started feeling it. And, I was like, stop thinking about it, and I just went with it, and that's how that led to that.
We see all the little kids too, little girls, little boys that come to these varsity games too, and the youth program, and they're always so enthralled watching the high school kids play. I always think it's a cool experience, and it's a cute experience too for the kids. For all those kids that are no doubtably going to be watching, or I'm sure going to be tuning in, and all the kids that are saying right now that Abby Mazur is their favorite varsity basketball player, what's your advice to them about the young basketball players that have those hopes and dreams of playing varsity one day? What's your advice to those kids of getting to where you are, and if they want to be Abby Mazur one day, how do they get to that varsity level?
Yeah, so I actually have a 7-year-old little sister. Her name's Aubrey. She's at all the basketball games she can make it to, and she always plays hoops in the driveway with us. And she's always like, "Oh, I can't wait to play basketball when I get older." So like, I just always like to push her to be the best person she can. And I think that's very important, that people need to realize that basketball isn't just about basketball. It's about grades, family, everything. Like, so I think grades are really important, actually. So, I mean, focus on schooling, and you can do anything that you set your mind to, really.
Did you get yourself into like a time machine, or like get flashbacks of blocking Aubrey now in the driveway after your
Oh,
brother
yeah.
did it to you for so long?
Yeah, she's nasty when she plays basketball. You got to watch your knees. She'll kick and stuff. So I try to stay away from her.
Definitely excited to see another major go up through the system as well. You talk about grades too, and I definitely don't want to leave that untouched too as far as schooling. Of course, very important too to a student athlete's career and career after high school as well. What are some of your favorite subjects? What have you found yourself getting interested in, I guess, hobby wise, or even just interest wise in general through school, through subjects, and just some of your other major interests?
Yeah, so I like school. I don't have a problem with school. Math, I've always struggled in school a little bit, but actually coming into high school, like my grades improved a lot. And I think it was really more focusing on the fact that I had something to look forward to, which was basketball, and that I needed to make sure that my grades were good so I can continue doing what I love to do. So math was pretty good. I'm like really good at science for some reason, even though I don't understand it half the time. But right now in my senior year, I'm in band, which band nerd, I hear it all the time. But like, I feel like if you enjoy something, you shouldn't have to change what you enjoy to make people like you more. So be yourself all the time. But yeah, I'm in band. I'm in a computer science class. That's pretty cool. I do like coding and stuff. Again, kind of nerdy, but whatever. And I'm in British language arts, like, so just your normal classes. I enjoy them all.
I know a few guys that program too. I have no idea and I don't understand it. So much respect to everyone that can do it. It takes a certain level of intelligence too. But also, I mean, you're doing band with sports too. And I know like the time commitment that
Yeah.
one of those things take. And I mean, you're doing both of them. Just how have you been able to manage your time and what did you learn about time management skills? Also, let's talk about band too. What's the instrument that you play too? And talk to me about the journey with that as well.
Yeah. So, starting in sixth grade, I did band just to fill one of my class things. I stayed in it. I'm do percussion, so drums and stuff like that. Um, but like time management wise, through basketball, like we've always kind of done like I've always been involved year round in basketball besides the time period I can't be. And so scheduling, like I have a calendar a set for every month on times of everything. So making sure you're really organized and like knowing and having time for yourself, I think is really important too. So making sure that you don't overbook your schedule and what you're doing. And like this year I picked up soccer and that was in the same time as band. So I had to make sure I had time for everything. But a lot of the people here are very understanding. So it's really nice to have coaches and teachers who can work around that with you.
What's more therapeutic for you, the swish of a 3-pointer or beating on the drums a little bit too when you need to relieve some stress?
The switch of the 3-pointer.
3-pointer, love
Yeah.
to hear that for sure. You talk about this. I mean, you talk about this whole experience of this season. I mean, you guys now know where you're going to be for tournament. It's going to be your last tournament run. I know the games are becoming shorter and shorter. I think every coach talks about this. You have like 80 some games at the beginning of your high school career, and it only gets shorter through there. Is it starting to become setting in yet, or are you still trying to push that away for right now, or are you starting to realize now the games are limited and just trying to enjoy the moment as you can?
Yeah, I mean, basketball is the last sport I'm gonna do in high school. I mean, I ran track, but it's just not really my thing. So I think it's bittersweet. I mean, I know I'll always be involved in the program even after I graduate. That's something I would want to do, come back and help or come in for alumni night and work with everybody. But I try to focus on the games coming up in the week. Senior night's the ninth for anybody who can make it. But senior night's coming up, and it's just like I said, a bittersweet moment. Like I don't want it to end, but I know it's gonna have to.
So, in saying that too, what are the plans? Are there any plans in place right now for Abby Mazur post high school, and what are those, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, so I want to go to school for special education. I'm not sure where I want to go to school at. I'm still deciding on that, but I still want to be involved in basketball, whether that be, I'm not sure if I want to play basketball in college or if that just means being involved in maybe a team here back home or a team wherever I'm going to be at. But I still want to have that basketball background with me.
Would you rather do you prefer to be kind of closer to home, or do you want to kind of spread your wings and get out there away from Ohio a little bit? It seems to be 50-50 on student athletes that I ask this.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about like Kent State a lot. I'm kind of a more family person, so it's hard for me to leave, but I have two younger siblings, Austin and Aubrey, and I mean, being there to see them grow up and stuff like that's important to me. So,
Of course, I'm biased, but of course, I'm going to say Kent State is awesome, no doubt, no doubt.
yeah.
Well, let's get through some rapid fire questions, and then we can get you out of here
All
real
right.
quick. That Abby. Let's go. Favorite post game meal.
Oh gosh, probably like I don't know, some of my mom cooks.
What's your favorite drill in practice?
Circle threes.
Best Kevin Longenecker quote.
Oh, I have so many. Helen Keller could have made that.
I love it. I love it. Let's favorite movie or favorite TV show.
My favorite movie is the Bee Movie, actually.
I love it too. That's awesome. I haven't seen it actually in a hot minute as well.
Yeah.
Favorite flavor of ice cream.
Cookie dough.
And what is something that you've learned through the Waterloo basketball program that has nothing to do with basketball?
That friends and family can mean everything in moments that you need them the most.
All right, Abby, before we let you go, I want to know what is your real life superhero and some other people that have inspired you along this way in this journey of basketball.
Like real life superhero, like an example, like my mom or something?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely my mom. Yeah.
And what is it about? What are some things that your mom has helped you with in this journey of basketball, and just some inspirations that you've had along the way?
I mean, my mom and my dad really, they both have always supported me no matter what they had been going through or anybody has been going through. They've always been there and made sure I got to practice, made sure I had everything I needed for basketball, shoes, everything. So they've always been a huge support. And that's not even just in basketball, that's in life too.
Well, let's get the final thank yous out of the way and we'll let you go. If there's anybody else you'd like to send a thank you out now in the Waterloo community, outside of it or wherever it may be, Abby, why don't we give you that chance to do that now?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the staff here at Waterloo, Coach L, Coach Leah, Coach Key, all my coaches in the past, my mom, my dad, my family, and you, of course. Thank you.
Well, we definitely loved being a part of your journey, Abby. I cannot wait to see the last few games of this season, and hopefully we're talking about a pretty sweet ending as well. It's been an edition of Player Profile with the Major, Abby Mazur over at Waterloo.
Thank you.